Today's the day we go from stock battery configuration to a lithium upgrade. So just doing a little before. This is the current battery switch situation. We got our port and starboard engine battery switches, the house battery switch, our starboard and port engine automatic charge relays, and then our bow thruster automatic charge relay. And the Victron monitoring panel. And the stock configuration. A whole lot of space down here. But port side, a lot of this will stay the same, but we got our 3K inverter, battery switches, half the batteries, your 12 volt AGMs, 6 volt AGMs, pairs of them in each box, and the other two, and the current. Wire runs. So before.
Okay, so start down here. Your alternator chargers, those would be your Orions. So you got two, one from each engine, and just simply, it's a breaker right here and here.
Okay.
That protects that circuit, and then this smaller red wire is what your multi-plus is, how they're charging this through a trickle charger.
Okay. Sweet.
So, yeah, that's designed to do the trickle charging. It's pretty nice because we weren't able to utilize the ACRs anymore because you have to keep them separated.
Okay.
The banks separated.
Okay. So those buttons are just there for looks now.
Yeah, I left them in. I thought maybe
it's good. Yeah. There's no
you could
sense
do
in
something
taking
with it later. Maybe if you wanted to add a auxiliary bank or something. I don't know. I just left them.
Yeah. No. Sounds good.
Okay.
This is gorgeous.
Yeah, it turned out nice. So this is all your load side. So, and it's really pretty simple. You've just got your two Orions, and then you got your big positive negative that actually goes over to your house. So it goes over to that the distribution block that's over again on that bulkhead.
Okay.
Bulkhead. And those two devices on the wall, those are your two Orions, which the breakers I just pointed out in the engine room, that's what. So one side is protected by those breakers, the other side are protected by fuses. So there's fuses in here. When you take this off, there'll be each one of these lights, each one of these 4 lights has a fuse in it.
Okay.
So 400, 80, 80, and then this is I think it's like a 40. It's just a spare, just so the light doesn't, have nuisance on it. These two wires here are going to the battery communication cables. So each one of these batteries are hooked together with a communication cable, which is that small little black wire you see sticking out.
Yeah.
And then there's one right here that connects this bank over here so that the system sees one big bank. And then you've got, so every one of these jumpers are identical in length from there. I went to great lengths. I built them in my shop so that they would be identical. And then you've got 2 sets of leads from this bank and from this bank that are swooping over and coming in right here. So one side, you know, coming from there, this side coming from there. And these 2 leads are identical in length. So these 4 wires are identical in length. And that's the critical factor when it comes to the lithium stuff. Now in here, you've got 2 big T-class fuses. It's this right here. This is a spare in case you're out on the hook and one pops. Yeah, and then, you know, apart from that, you've got, this is your power. This little red wire now powers your Servo GX up there. And that is really nice because if you shut this off, like, because this is actually a big switch. It's a BMS, but it's also a big switch.
Okay.
So you can turn it off with the Servo, or you can turn it off with the app. And this has to be powered up from here in order for that to work properly. And then this blue wire is just the communications cable back to the Servo. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it in here. Any questions?
When, like, what circumstance would I be turning that off? The battery management system?
You needed to service it, like, you know, that's a great question. In fact, let's just talk through some potential scenarios. So, if for, you know, there might come a situation where, like, one of the cells in one of these batteries go bad. There's 4 cells per battery, and they all, like, all 8 batteries, every single one of the cells have to be within, like, I think it's like 0.1 or 0.2 of each other in order for you to not have problems. So if you're ever on the way and you're having problems with, like, the BMS just keeps shutting off and it'll say something like, you know, low battery cell or something like that, you can actually bypass one of the batteries. It'll take a little bit of work, but you can do it. So what you would do is you would take the jumper out that connects the 2 batteries. So you would take the, you know, and you really just need to take the positive out. Actually, you'd have to take both out, I guess. So you'd have to take positive and negative jumper off, and then take these, you know, unscrew it, and then just, you know,
swap it.
This one here is now going to this one here.
Yeah.
Like that. And you could also, if you wanted to, kind of like process of elimination, you could bypass one side of this altogether. You know, you could bypass like 4 of them, just by connecting. At that point, it would be, yeah, it would be this wire here, right? Because this wire connects the back 2.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So you could disconnect this from one side and then bring it over here and land it in the BMS, and then disconnect whichever wire, whichever side you're trying to disconnect. They're opposite. So this swooping here.
That's going to the, okay.
Yeah. This one, you can see it kind of goes that direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that would just, you're going to isolate one whole half.
Yeah, you get one half of the pack would be completely isolated at that point.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and then again, if, you know, one of these stopped, it'll let you know. Like, the Servo will tell you, but also one of these lights will go, I think it's red, if one of the fuses blow. And if this fuse blows, that's going to be your main system. So there's a 400 here. 400 here, 400s here, two 400s.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's all updated. I'd update the firmware on the Servo.
Okay.
It includes the Victron, the Multiplus, and the MPPTs.
You said
all
you
that
did,
stuff,
or I should do
I
it?
did.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I did.
Sweet.
All that stuff is controlled now by this BMS. So like that's controlled by the BMS. Those two devices, your MPPT, that's all controlled by this.
Okay, that makes sense. When I was looking at the screen, it was saying it's all externally controlled. I was
Yeah.
like, what does that mean?
Yeah,
And, okay,
that's what it means.
That's what it means.
Yeah, which is fantastic because you don't want to mess around with the overcharging or depleting these guys.
Okay, and so it sounds like when I fire the engines up, it's gonna all that is still just it's gonna be automatic. I don't need to worry about the ACRs anymore, and there's no I don't have control over that. It'll be
so the ACR. Well, the only ACR now that really is needed is the one going back to your thruster.
okay.
But that's automatic anyway. So I think I have a switch up there.
There's
right?
a switch where I can either turn it's on either auto or I can force it on.
Yeah. So I didn't mess with that, so that should be the same. That's going to be charging off of your house, which is how it was anyway. Your two engine batteries are going to get charged from your alternators, and then these two banks are going to get charged from those Orions. So via alternator via that. So those two devices send the correct amount of voltage to the lithiums. They charge the lithiums in the way that they're designed to be charged.
Sweet.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So when the engines turn on, they're charging the starter batteries, and the starter batteries these are going to say, hey, this is low. I'm pulling from the starter batteries now.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the only for the thruster battery is that ACR hooked into. Is that connected to the starter batteries, or is that?
Yes. It's correct. That's how it was originally designed. It was hooked up to the house batteries.
Okay.
So it's going to get. It'll continue to get charged as it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that one doesn't need like a external charge controller for it.
No. The ACR is taking care of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, you have any questions?
I made it back to Oregon from Blaine, and it looks like it was a successful installation. Looking forward to giving it some running time later this year on some longer boat trips. We went from 8 batteries to 8 batteries. The previous installation, we had 8 6-volt Lifeline AGM batteries, and each pair of those were rated for 220 amp hours for a total of 880 amp hours, with about 440 amp hours of usable if you were to draw down 50%, which is kind of the max that you want to safely run your AGMs down. So this new installation gave us 8 12-volt Victron batteries, lithium iron phosphate batteries rated at 300 amp hours each for a total of 2,400 amp hours with about 1,920 hours usable at a 80% discharge rate. So for our situation, that gave us about a 4.5x increase in total usable power, which is really important in terms of being able to have more connectivity with Starlink for work or emergencies. And we use electric heating. We electric stovetop induction stovetops for cooking. Which this gives us the opportunity to not have to start up the main engines just to run the stovetop or to run the microwave or to make coffee in the morning. We could use that previous battery system for just about everything that we needed, but just for short duration. This will hopefully allow us to stay out for a much longer time. So big thanks to Shawn BoatWired for the installation. It was super clean. Everything was very professionally done, well communicated, and electricians as a species are known to be pretty filthy in terms of cleanup that happens after they're done. But in Shawn's case, he did a phenomenal job of keeping not only the installation just meticulously designed and implemented, but the workspace super clean too, which is always important on a boat. One of the nice aspects of the installation is, right now I can see what's going on the Serbo display screen in the boat. Up in Blaine. So this is a super nice feature in terms of just being able to be aware of what's going on if your shore power goes down or if you have some other issue with the batteries, everything is remotely controlled at this point, which is super useful. But looking forward to being able to use this and put it through the ringer this season and find out just how much usable power we have and how durable these lithium systems are. Stoked to use it. So thanks to Shawn, thanks to BoatWired, and looking forward, and Victron, and looking forward to testing it out.